So 16 years in the classroom, English language arts, middle and high school. I had 130 to 150 students each year. Grading papers was horrendous. And not only that, during my planning periods, I had meetings to go to, or I had to work with some of my students that might need to make up work or need a little extra help. So I couldn't grade papers during my planning period. So I was either forced to grade papers after school or on my weekends. And who wants to do that? Because after school, I normally was at some type of event for my students, supporting them at a football game, basketball game, cheerleaders, or at home or at one of my daughter's events. So I didn't really have a lot of time. So the way I figured, or what helped me out with grading and cut time down, gave my students immediate feedback, because they're always saying, did you grade this? Did you grade this? Is I started using Google Forms. Now, some people might say, oh, I don't want to use Google Forms. I already have my test made. Like I said, I was in the classroom for 16 years. Some of my tests, some of my assessments, I love. They were tried and true. And I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. So, no, I don't want to use tech to do something that I've already done and is proven. But I figured out a way to use Google Forms to help me. I'm going to show you how to create a Google form using tests that you've already created. So yes, you'll still be able to use your tried and true documents. Yes, it will grade them as soon as they are finished, unless you have some short response, and I'll show you how you can grade that quickly as well. So you're not having to lug around 150 pages. Okay, let's get started. Go to forms.new, title your form, the test. Mine is going to be entitled the lottery quiz. And my first question is always going to be their name, and it's required. Sometimes for the second question, I will do the class period or the block. Then we're going to go to settings. Once we go to settings, we want to make this a quiz. Then you have release grades. Do you want them to see their grade immediately after they submit, or later after you review? Later after you review is if you are given a short response or an essay. And then what do you want them to see? I want them to see the missed questions. I don't want them to see the correct answers. And they can see the point value. I'm going to do the default point value 10, because it's 10 questions on this test. So let's make this test. Like I said, this is a bubble sheet, an answer sheet. You already have your test made. So all I want is question 1, and they'll know to answer question 1 here. So they'll have their test in front of them, and they'll have their Chromebook. They will know question 1 goes here. And then I'll start with A, and Google Form auto populates the rest of them, A, B, C, D. And so then I'm just going to duplicate the question, and I'm going to make sure I go ahead and put the correct answer. That way I'll already have my answer key done, and as the kids do the test, it will automatically grade it. So I'm just going to go through, duplicate, correct answer until I'm finished with number 10. So that's what it's doing now. It's just speeding it up a little. And now we have our test made, or our bubble sheet made. And I mean, it'll only take you about 5 minutes to make your bubble sheet. So it's not taking you too much time. Okay, so I'm checking over what the bubble sheet looks like. And I see that I have 110 points. I know that's not correct, so I need to take the 10 points away from the name. So now this test is 100 points, and I'm ready to give it out to my students. I can give it to them via Google Classroom. I can send them the link, but this is what they will ultimately receive. They will type their name, and then they will answer the bubble sheet. It's just like the old bubble sheets. This time it's just virtual or digital, and they're still getting that immediate feedback. So they won't have to ask you, have you graded the test yet? It will not let them submit it until they have answered all the questions. So it's letting them know they forgot number 2. Then once they click submit, it's going to give them a message, and they're going to want to view the score. And that's their score, and then they can go and see which ones they missed. I don't like them to see the correct answer because sometimes they will give the answers to their classmates. Now I want to make question 10 a short response question. So I'm going to go to short response or short answer, and I'm going to give it some suggestions. So the answer would be simile. I'm going to spell simile with all lowercase. I'm going to spell it with a capital S, I-M, and then I'm going to spell it wrong, smile, because sometimes they misspell it. I could do it in all capital letters, but I would probably tell my students to spell the word correctly, because that will determine if it's graded correctly. So now student 2 is going to go through the test, and they're going to type in the correct answer for number 10. And we're going to see it will grade that as well. So if you have short one-word answers, vocabulary, it will also grade those. But the students have to make sure they spell the word correctly, or at least spell it how you spelled it on the answer key. So again, we're going to look at how it already graded it, and that is the last question where they had to type the word. Okay, so what if I want a longer response? I'm going to go to answer type, paragraph, make sure I still have it worth 10 points, and now I'm going to go to my settings again, and I'm going to change it to later after manual review, because I'm going to have to review their answer. Okay, now this is the student answer key or bubble sheet. I'm going to put their name. They're going to go through questions. And now we have a short response and we have a long response. So they're going to type in their answer to the long response here. And this is the part that we're going to have to grade manually. And then they're going to type in their answer to the short response, and it will grade automatically for them. And I'm going to show you a quick way to grade those long responses. And I just wanted to do it 2 times so you would see how it looks. Okay, now let's see what we see. We're going to go to responses. This page right here is just your overall data. How many students missed this question? Do I need to go back and reteach this because several of my students missed this? Or do they understand it? That's what I see on this landing page. Then I'm going to go to responses again. And at the top, you will see it broken down into summary, question, and individual. So I can go to each individual student and look at that paragraph or that long response here. And I can go ahead and give them points for their response. If I wanted to add feedback, I could add feedback. I'm going to put save. And I can go and do it again for the next student. Now, that's one way you can go. The way I prefer is to go back up to the top and go to question. And this way, I'm just looking at that paragraph question or that long response question. I'm not looking at the student's name, so it's very objective. I'm just looking at the answer to that question, and I can just do check or X. They either got all the points or they didn't get any of the points. I can also add in how many points. Once I do that, click save, and it's graded.